accepting the silent auction tabs so that
I'm a theater teacher, I was projecting. So at any rate, the retired teachers are gathering the slips, the voting slips are the bid slips out there. We'll have an idea of who has won the bids out in the silent auction. We're going to begin now with round 3, and the students are all ready to go. Haven't the students done a great job tonight for you? Great job. Students, you may begin.
This brings us to round 3 of our candidate forum for our sheriff candidates. We will begin this round with Mr. Scott, then Sheriff Duncan, Mr. Lance, and Mr. Hedgecock. Here is the question number 3. Discuss your experience with field work and how it will assist you in your role as sheriff.
First of all, I'm selfish, but like every other one of these men here started out working the lowest rung in the field. Started out as a patrolman for Hugo Police Department, and later served as a sheriff's deputy here for this county. Now, coming from the bottom up like that, you get to know the nuts and bolts of how things operate, and you're not going to ask another man to go do something you can't done or you can't do. Thank you.
You've probably done it over there, and you learn on every situation you're in, whether it be a theft, or whether it be working drugs. You never get too smart to learn something. I mean, those people think they are, but there's always room for improvement. I've never said there wasn't. Like I said, I've helped investigate everything from cattle theft to timber theft to vehicle theft, murder, burglary, and like I said, every time you do that, and sometimes you call for the FBI to help investigate things. They've got better facilities, better schooling than we've had, all of them with a lot more experience, and it really helps a lot, and you learn from things like that. If you keep an open mind, you learn every time you go out on something, it's never the same. Thank you.
My 34 years of experience in law enforcement has led me down a lot of roads. I've worked in the field. I know what patrol procedures are. I've commanded men in patrol procedures. Working as undersheriff, I've also worked burglaries. I've worked thefts. I know exactly what to do in the field. My working in the field, I don't know how many lives by my patrolling that I might have saved by just being there. By just being at a certain position or being at a certain area. How many lives I might have saved by slowing somebody down. That was my job. The sheriff's office is no different. To be out in the field, you need to be out in the field working. You need to be a deterrent to crime. That is a deterrent by being out in the field. I have the experience to be able to command men and tell them where to go. We'll work at where our burglaries are happening. We'll work at where our thefts are happening, where our drug activity is happening. That's where we will be. I have that experience. Thank you very much.
In my experience as DA's investigator, that's what I did, was investigating any crimes in the field. Most of the time I spent many hours for follow-up reports on what investigations were. The reports submitted by the different agencies would go out, do the field interviews, and finish up the work with it. I've been through numerous fleet hours of training with crime scenes to meth labs to all the stuff. And before I was the DA's investigator, I was a patrolman, was K-9 handler for 2 different agencies, and that's what I believe I can bring a lot to the investigative part.
sales tax increase. Why or why not?
Just for your information, unfortunately, Senator Silk had another engagement and he had to be excused, so we have our two remaining state Senate candidates.
So Mr. Williams.
Well, I first have to say I respect Governor Bourne. He is one of the greatest senators up there. He was invited to the White House more time for meals than any other senator. He was very professional, but this 1 cent sales tax I have to be different on, because if you raise that 1 cent when you buy a lawnmower or a car, these adjoining states like Texas, Arkansas will become richer. People will go out of state to buy their lawnmowers or whatever it may be, anything of any size, and they can take themselves out to movies. They can go out to eat and still come home with more money. So it will hurt our state in the surrounding areas. So I'm going to have to oppose that tax because we're already at 10%. So thank you.
You know, this is a hard question because it is raising the sales tax, obviously. But let me go back and say a few things, like I said earlier. 5 years ago, we had 32 people with emergency certificate in the state of Oklahoma. Now we have 1,060. They are fleeing. The system is broken. If we reallocated the money like we should and like we're going to, we wouldn't need this sales tax. But it's broken. It's going to take a while to fix it. I am supporting the sales tax because if we do not, your small schools and the way the life that we know it now is going to change drastically because it's going to take time to get the system fixed. I don't like it, but that's why we're doing it, and that's why I'm supporting it. Thank you very much.
This third question is directed at the county commissioner candidates. We will begin with Commissioner Duncan, followed by Mr. Burgett, and conclude with Mr. Flagg. Here is the relevant question. Is there anything about county government that you would like to see changed?
Well, there's a few things that, you're always change from sometimes is good, and it has to do with some of the regulations that we're under, some of the way things are processed through the state, through the county. I spent most of the day-to-day with ODOT on a road that I've been working on for 3 years, that when the state had the shortfall, they pulled $50 million out of our CRB money last year, $50 more million out of it this year, which set our projects off for 2 years. So stuff like that I'd like to see change and put into the hands of the people that actually pays that and the people that deserve it. Just like for our roads and bridges and stuff. And we've got, there's too many people got their hand on our business, you know what I mean, as far as taking care of the roads and stuff like that. Just like these projects we had today, that I'm talking about today. It was something that should have started July 1st, which is the fiscal year 2017, and now it's set off to 2019. So stuff like that I'd like to see change. Thank you.
Again, I see these things, it's all about this money situation, and we're talking about these taxes and these tax hikes and all that stuff. I believe that the government call it pork. We got to watch the pork, what's going on. Watch where these dollars are, these pennies. These guys get pennies, half a cent. You know, that half a cent isn't very much. So we need to get together. There's 3 commissioners. This race I'm running for, there's 3 guys that have a lot of control of this county. We got to work together, cut the pork out of this stuff, and see what we can do to make it better, because the money shortage. We hear, you can read in the Daily Oklahoma, we're $1.3 billion deficit this year. So, like I said, we've got to tighten our belts and find ways to cut here and there, just like we would at our own homes. Thank you.
believe that we have to utilize every resource that we can grab hold of. I think we have to utilize them and be productive about them. To prioritize things, I think everything in OREA is a priority. We just have to go forward with each thing we can, each thing that comes along as it comes along. The main thing I think is we got to clear all the red tape. Red tape holds up all the projects. They always have. You get everybody, as they talked about, everybody gets his finger in. But when you take the red tape out, the projects can go forward. And when they go forward faster, the faster they go forward, the less money is spent. The better contractors you get on, and you get things done. Thank you.
This is the final prepared question for our state representative candidates. We will begin with James Albert Campbell, followed by Morgan Hobson, and end with Justin J.J. Humphreys. If you are elected our state representative, will you commit to protecting the defined benefit plan designed with the teacher's retirement system? Will you oppose any effort to change it to a defined contribution plan? Elaborate, please.
I will oppose it. I will not only just oppose it, I'll try to gather up votes, other votes to oppose it, because quite simply, that wasn't the deal, to put it frankly. That's not what y'all signed up for. That's not the way it was. There's no reason to change it. Maybe to save some money here and there for the state, but we owe that money. I don't think that we should change it. I don't want to change it. Not only, as I said, would I oppose it, I'll carry whatever water y'all want me to. I will fight it.
We have to protect education. We have to prioritize our budget. This situation, whether it comes with change of the retirement, whether it comes with not having our teachers representative on the TRS board, this is wrong. We have to make sure that they have a COLA adjustment. We have to lay all the problems on the table, find the solutions, no matter which area they come from, and do what's right for the people in this district, and do what's right for the people in the state, and we have to stop the political games. Thank you.
As I've already said, I'm committed to that. We've heard both these gentlemen. I want to give them just praise that they've done an awesome job, kept this clean, so I appreciate that. The one thing that I want to say is the question comes down, if we all three agree on the same thing, then who's got the experience? Guys, I've been at the Capitol. I was FOP Vice President, third largest group in the state of Oklahoma. I worked to save officers the right to carry guns when they were trying to take it away. I've got officer raises when they said it couldn't be done. I've managed to go up to the Capitol and get a lot of things done. I know the Speaker of the House has come and asked me what we can do to change some things. I personally know him. That's the way that we get things done, is working together. It's good to fight. I'm willing to fight. I will want to fight. And I'm sure that James will fight too. But the question is, who can get the most done for you? That's the decision that you have to make. I think my experience in state government, my experience in county government, my experience working at the Capitol, knowing the people there will get the job done. Thank you.
Teachers have collected the questions, reviewed them, and selected those questions for our candidates to seem the most inclusive for all candidates. Jim Scott will answer first, followed by Sheriff Duncan, Mr. Lance, Mr. Hedgecock, and finally Mr. Marzak, which is our president. Here's a question for our sheriff candidates from our audience. How will you prepare for the increase in crime as the county grows.
I've always been a bigger proponent, as we sit here tonight and talk about taxes and budgets, the idea of trying to make the pie bigger. If the county grows, I would hope that our tax base would grow. With the tax base growing, I would hope that we would be financially able to have more assets at the sheriff's office in a situation of that nature. Thank you.
I'd love to see our county grow. Unfortunately, it seems to be going the other way. I mean, businesses are leaving. You know, if we get a growth spurt, we get the, you know, it's just like he said, that you're gonna get tax base. You know, if you got more businesses, more people shopping at home, you'll have more taxes, you'll have more money to do with. You'll have a better budget to, you know, put on more patrols and, you know, buy better vehicles than what we have. More officers on duty, you know, if the budget allows. That's the way I would deal with the increase. Thank you.
I like to see our county grow. I believe that if our county grows, so our law enforcement grows, so our budget grows. The county as a whole, we need to work on our tourism. Our tourism here and bring more people in the county. I've had more people come to me and talk to me about, well, hey, how's our health services? How is our ambulance services? How is the law enforcement services? You know, that's what people look at when they want to move into a community, especially when they come from a bigger area and they move to a rural community. They want to know, how is their property going to be protected? I'm hoping that if our county grows, so will our budget, so will our tax base. Therefore, our department will grow. When our department grows, that means more security and protection, not only for the citizens who live here, but for the citizens that move into our county. Thank you.
Was the question how to make the county grow or if it grows?
How will you prepare for the increase in crime as the county grows?
Well, if the county grows, like everybody said, it would increase budget and have more patrol. I think the biggest deterrent on crime is conviction rates. In my time, I've watched in the courthouse, the best thing is jury trials. When you jury trial, put a case good enough together in front of a 12-man jury and they get a life sentence, it deters people to do that. If they're going to do it, most times they're going to move on down the road to the county. It's wild, like fighting fire ants. You just move them over to somebody else's problem. Appreciate it.
Next is the question from our audience tonight. This question is for both the state Senate candidates and the state representative candidates. We will begin with Mr. Williams, followed by Mr. Ebert, followed by Mr. Hobson, followed by Mr. Humphrey, and then we will end with Mr. Campbell. Here is the question. State question 777 is about the right to farm. What is your position on this state question?
What scares me about 777, we already have the right to farm. And I'm afraid that if we vote that in, it will give Western Oklahoma the opportunity, the right to farm if they have a drought to come get our water. And I worry about that. So like I say, we already have a right to farm. And if it was an easy bill to pass, our legislators would have passed it. They wouldn't put it on us as a citizen so they can always turn back to you when you voted for it. So people, you have to be careful with these questions. So I would have to oppose it right now unless I found something different that proved otherwise. So thank you.
Like I said earlier, I taught agriculture education and studied agriculture for a while. I also will have to oppose this bill at this time because there's just too many things that are too many variables. So we've got to narrow them down. And I see, but I definitely don't want to lose our water from southeast Oklahoma. I definitely, you know, before you sign on something, you got to know a little bit more about it. And at this time, I oppose this. Thank you.
When it comes to state question 777, yes, we do have a right to vote. But when it comes to all these state questions that come out like this, we have to look and see where they've been implemented in other places in the country. Similar questions like this and constitutional amendments have been done at North Dakota. They had one over in Wyoming, and they had one in California, trying to give a right to vote, but it ended up being a benefit for large companies like Monsanto that came in, and they were able to pollute the local water, pollute the local farmland without having retribution because of the change. Now the state couldn't come in and say they couldn't do what they were doing. Now, depending on how things are worded, depending on how things come out, that's how you have to look at it, as in a whole perspective. We can't look at anything that gets thrown in our face and saying, oh, well, we're going to give you something. We already have it, but they're going to throw this up as a distraction while there's other things that have to be addressed. Everything has to be looked down to the details. You have to look all the way, and you have to look at what are the consequences, what are the benefits. Right now, I do not think there is enough benefits coming off of this, so I at this point would oppose it. Thank you.
I agree with the other three candidates of what they said. I would oppose this. Here's your problem. They could have created a good bill. I would be more interested in right to ranch on this side of the state, you know. But if they could have made this a better bill, it could have had better language. Here's the problem. When you make vague language, then that goes up in front. It generally ends up in front of a judge. Guys, when you have to put the whole fate of a bill on one person that's going to make up the decision of how to interpret that, I don't want to leave that open for one person's interpretation, especially if he's going to be appointed from the western part of the state. And most likely, those are going to be the people who are going to try to be after the water, and this is, make no mistake, it's a water issue. And we need to protect our resources. We're talking about bringing money to House District 19. The way we do that is keep our resources here, protect our resources, use our resources, make money from those resources. So I oppose this bill. Thank you.
Like I said earlier, I am a rancher. I run cattle in Choctaw and Curtin County. I have about 2,000 con trees down in the Red River and Boggy Bog in Choctaw County. I'm a member of the Oklahoma Cattlemen's Association, and when 777 come out, or was presented to me, the Cattlemen's Association, Farm Bureau, and other ag groups touted it, that it's what we want, it's what we need. Later on, Farm Bureau changed their water policy, which caused me to lose a little trust. I originally thought it was a good idea, or I thought that it was almost so vague that it would not hurt anything. But now, as I read more and more and study the issue more and more, I realize that there's nothing more important to us than our water. When my father was on his deathbed, he told me several things. He told me some business to take care of. He told me to stick with them white bulls. And he told me to don't let them steal our water. That's one thing I'm not going to do. And if this has a chance of complicating our hold on our water, I will not go for it. I will oppose it.
This is the question from our audience for our candidates for County Commissioner. Mr. Burgett will lead, followed by Mr. Clegg, and end with Commissioner Duncan. Here's the question. If elected, what will be your first priority of action?
For me, that's about the easiest one tonight. Like I said, I've talked to folks from Finley, Pickens, Sobel, Round Cloud. I live at Cloudy, been there. Up here to the railroad tracks at Amherst, folks want their road graded. So you can bet that's going to be the first thing we do. We're going to start turning them on. They're going to quit being parked. And folks at Cloudy putting for sale signs on them because they're not going to be there long enough to get sold. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Thank you.
I believe that's what the people want. They want the roads fixed. You know, even if you don't have enough fuel for the road grader, you can always put 2 men in the truck, give them a couple of shovels and send them out. 2 men with 2 shovels and quick pickups can fill up a lot of potholes in a day's time. So we're going to address these roads, we're going to get them fixed, and then we're going to go from there. Thank you.
Well, we work on the roads every day, and we've had some lot of bad weather and stuff that's messed a lot of roads up. But we've had blades on the roads for the last 2 weeks while they've been working, and like I said, it's a lot different to talk about it and do it. I mean, when you're in the position to do it, then it's a lot different than it is to talk about it. So, thank you.
Now that every candidate has had the opportunity to answer relevant questions pursuant to their election to an office, they now will each have the opportunity to address you with a final statement. Each candidate has been advised that their final statement can be no more than 30 seconds. We will begin with the candidates for sheriff, John Lance, then B.J. Hedgecock, then Jim Scott, and finally Terry Duncan.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I know I only have 30 seconds, so I'm going to have to hurry here. The residents of Pushmataha County deserve nothing less than a dependable and professional sheriff's department. One that they can rely on, one they can trust for the safety and security of their personal property and their families. I bring you 34 years of law enforcement experience. I will bring that to you, the professionalism, the integrity, and the commitment to serve you as your sheriff. And on June the 28th, I appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for putting this on tonight. I would like, if I was elected as sheriff, I would like to bring grant skills to supply more money to the county, because all we've talked about is the budgets, about how there's no money here. We have to find ways to bring the money in there. I have several great ideas how to get money back into the sheriff's office, that the jail where it can make some money. There's a lot of grants that's never been applied for in this county to get this county back into where it needs to be, supply the patrolmen to do it. I appreciate y'all voting June 28th for sheriff. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, to echo the other candidates' statements, thank you for having us here tonight. Thank you for having the candidates to come out here and offer this forum. Briefly, ladies and gentlemen, accountability, service, and professionalism will be the cornerstone of the administration where I'll be elected sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity that y'all have given us tonight, retired educator. All these ideas that you guys got, they all sound good, and I'm all for it. But, sometimes we're kind of throttled by what we can do with the budget we have. If you look at the counties around us, at the crime rate, and what you live in right here, I don't think I've done half a bad job, and I sure would appreciate your vote so I continue to do my job. And I appreciate you. Thank you.
Bush County retired educators for hosting this and Adler School for letting us have this. No one knows education like an educator. I've been involved in it for 21 years. You know, you heard me talk earlier tonight, I'm going after the corporate greed, corporate welfare, but you also heard me talk about a 1% sales tax. We're going to be 900 million shy next year, guys. I don't like it, but that's why we have to have it. 900 million to start with. And we've got to do some things about that, and it's going to take time to work on the corporate end. So, you know, please go to the polls and vote the 28th and vote for Stacey Allen Evers for State Senate. Thank you very much.
I just want to touch on your defined contribution plan to your others. You need that, but also you need to find you a guaranteed contribution plan like the highway patrols do with their tags. If you could do that, you could always be, you could be funded. So that's something to look at as Senate. And also that 1 cent sales tax will kill our communities and there will not be any revenue. So we need to find other ways to fund our education, not kill our community and send all that money over state lines. And also the 777, if you let that be a law and we vote it in, you will tie our legislature's hands and they cannot legislate to stop them from stealing our water. So you better think about that. So as your senator, I will fight for all these things. So June 28th, vote for me, John Allen Williams, and God bless you all.
Gentlemen for County Commissioner, we are now ready for statements, beginning with Mr. Burgett, followed by Mr. Flagg and Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, educators. Payne Radio Group back there, thank you for getting it out. Folks can maybe get to know us a little bit. November, I'm running a Republican, so come November, thank you for your vote. I'm kind of like the old song, torn between two lovers. I love telling folks here in Push County we got 2 stoplights. You can't hardly do that anywhere. I love rural Oklahoma. I love southeast Oklahoma. I'm going to do all I can to tighten the budget and start grading the roads, and maybe through tourism and recreation we can get some more money coming in here and just shore up our county. Thank you.
I have a very strong and aggressive work ethic. I believe I have the motivation and experience to energize what the county needs here. I believe if we'll all work together, get unitized, that we can make a difference in this county. And I believe with the vision I have for this county, if you would catch that vision with me, this county can be so much more. If you could catch that vision with me, we can team up and make a difference. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all inviting us here and enjoyed it. And I'd like to ask for your vote on June 28th. And like I said, no matter who gets this job, whether it's me or one of these other guys, the people need to stand behind them. I mean, in all these elected jobs, I think we ought to get behind whoever wins and try to support them. And I thank y'all.
State Representative candidates, you may now give us your final thoughts. We will begin with Mr. Humphrey, followed by Mr. Campbell, and end with Mr. Hobson.
I also want to say thank you for letting us come. Here's the important issue that we've not discussed tonight. This district has awesome people. It has timber. It has water. We have 2 prisons. We have a lot of unique things that others don't have. But we also have a drug problem, a huge drug problem. It affects families. It affects schools. It affects welfare. It affects health. It affects the economy. Guys, if we don't address this issue, we're not going to move forward. And so I have experience in probation. I have experience in drug courts. I have experience, 26 years experience in law enforcement. I can get the job done. I'm asking for your vote, Justin J.J. Humphrey, come November 8th. Thank you.
thank you all, and thank you for our distinguished panel. I just want all of you to know that, as you probably already know, that whoever you elect is going to have one vote. Now, southeastern Oklahoma shares the same school systems, the same health care systems, same local economy, we share a lot of the same water. And it's important that we be able to keep our allies in southeast Oklahoma, like Johnny Tadlock in District 1, Brian Renninger in District 17. I will not only cast my one vote for the best interest of you, the people, I will work to build our allies, to stand with those that stand with us, and to stand against those that oppose us. So thank you, and I hope you remember me in November. Thank you.
Thank you for this whole event. It's been absolutely wonderful. In closing, I'd like to say it is a great responsibility to represent the people in this district. There are many important issues and challenges that are ahead, and the future of where we go will be decided in this election cycle. I was raised and educated here. The values and beliefs that I carry with me were developed here, and if elected, I will take these values to the Capitol, and I will fight for the people in District 19, because this is our home. Morgan Thompson, solutions, not politics.
On behalf of the retired educators of Pushmataha County, we want to thank you for allowing us to be a part of this forum. We know that we have learned a great deal, and we want to especially thank our candidates for being our guests tonight and sharing their thoughts with us. How about a huge round of applause for our candidates? I will now turn the program over to Mr. Smallwood for the final activities of the evening, recognition and adjournment.
Thank you all so much for your rapt attention. I think we had an incredible event, first time event that the retired teachers of Push County have hosted this candidate forum. We want to thank you. What we'd like to do now is this. We're getting ready to have our live auction right down here. And then also I'm going to make an announcement right now of who won the silent auction. And I wanted you to understand that when we finish here, make sure that you line up and give us your money, okay? All right, very quickly, I'm going to go through these. Gail Johnson Jewelry, Vicki O'Donnell. Giacomo's, Gertrude Bohannon. Wall Hanging, Karen Smallwood. Laveras, Vicki Townsend. Igloo Cooler, Martha Tucker. Pete's Place, Arlene Arnold. Dr. Renninger Vet, Arlene Arnold. Wasp Catcher, Peggy Miller. Fireworks, Martha Tucker. Fountain, Inez Holloway. Serving Tray, Karen Smallwood. T-shirt, Ricky Briggs. Pizza Place, Clayton, Billy Don Briggs. Ricky Briggs and Karen Smallwood twice. Movie Basket, Lance Morris. High Street, Karen Smallwood. Candy Dish, Karen Smallwood. Thank you, Karen Smallwood. Avon Gift Basket, Arlene Arnold. Painting, Laverne Walls. OSU Reef, Vicki O'Donnell. Misty's Nail, Jennifer McNutt. Planter, Terry Duncan. Movie Rentals, Diane Duncan. Haircut, Sharon McKeever. Chow Chow Basket, Justin Humphrey. Hair Products, Karen Smallwood. Rat Tan Pizza, Myrtle Edmond. Cushions, Laverne Walls. Phone accessories, Myrtle Edmond. Movie basket, Diane Duncan. Phone accessories, Briley Hedgecock. 4th of July basket, Karen Smallwood. Ameristate basket, Dixie Ronaldo. Veggie basket, Jade O'Donnell. My Favorite Things basket, Myrtle Edmond. Turkey, Christy Robbins. Rat Can Pizza twice, Karen Smallwood. Jewelry, Bonnie Skinner. Phone accessories, Myrtle Edmond. Antlers Pharmacy basket, Jade O'Donnell. Calathea Plant, Larry Morgan. Cross and Bowl, Karen Smallwood. Phone access, Will Payne. Chainsaw, Billy Burke. Okay. Howard, Jan Wilson. Abel's, Dusty Smallwood. Clayton Pharmacy, Arlene Arnold. Gift basket, Martha Tucker. Terry Duncan and Karen Smallwood. Jewelry, Bonnie Skinner. Sherry Burke Jewelry. Shasta Hobson, Lance Morris, and Shasta Hobson. I have to do with the Pine Cellular, 4, 5, 6, and 8 Pine Cellular baskets. Inez Holloway and Sharon McKeever. Jade O'Donnell, Gallantee Service. Inez Holloway, First Aid. Martha Tucker, you've got something here. Anyway, Janetta Wilson Pruitz. Phyllis Davis Pruitz, Martha Tucker Pruitz, Shasta Hobson, Greenware, Myrtle Edmond Quilt, Ricky Briggs, Fly Lure, Julia Wood, Four Seasons, Dawn Standridge, you've done something. Inez Holloway, Pioneer Basket, Bonnie Skinner and Phyllis Davis and Janetta Wilson, you have bought something as well. And it's a lot, so we really need to. Okay, Inez Holloway Lodge, Phyllis Davis, you have captured something as well. And Bath and Body, I think it's Karen Smallwood, Evan Smith, Janetta Wilson, and Ricky Briggs, you all have obligated yourselves for something as well. So I'm going to give this list back to our president or vice president, give to Vicki, but make sure when you go out that you line up to make these payments. Now, what we're going to do, I want you to give a big hand to our candidates as we allow them with their big pocketbooks to join you out front, right out front here as we auction off the delicacies that have been created by some of the finest cooks in Push County. And we knew that this was going to be a big deal, so we're going to auction now some delicacies up here that are premier. We're going to allow our candidates, with your applause, to join you in the audience at this time.